a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the Restricted Section, the podcast that is dragging me and my friends through the Harry Potter series like so much quicksand. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 15, The Goblin's Revenge, in which Ron splits the party. I'm your host, Christina. My co-host today is Mary Clay. Say hello to the listeners, Mary Clay.
What up, everyone?
Hello. Hello. With me today is our friend Ethan. Say hello to the listeners, Ethan.
Hello to the listeners.
Along with our friend Tyler. Say hello to the listeners, Tyler.
Hello, listeners.
Air horn noise.
We're so glad to have you back. It's been a while. Tyler, I think it's been like a hot minute since you've come on the show.
I think you're right.
A medium minute since Ethan's been on the show.
I also think I did the same bit the last time I introduced myself.
The air horn?
Yeah.
I think I did a chapter in 5, 6, and now 7.
Oh, I think my last one was in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Your last one was in Order of the Phoenix, Tyler. You and Ethan came on for the film. They are thematically similar.
I came on for a film?
Yeah, you came on. I mean, maybe you didn't end up showing up. I don't know, Tyler. You're a very busy man.
Didn't show up.
You're on the schedule.
Hold on. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I vaguely remember watching it.
I mean, sure. A lot of us do.
That is actually how I feel about 5 and 6. Pretty much in general.
It says on the actual episode that I actually published, it has your name on it. So you definitely were there.
Congratulations.
That is not the Half-Blood Prince. Order of the Phoenix.
No, it's Order of the Phoenix, yeah. And then, Ethan, you last came on for the Phoenix Lament, a real uplifting chapter.
Banger where we talked about Fox screaming for hours.
Okay, and then this is another really fun, uplifting chapter for you. Just like really good, uplifting, happy, positive stuff.
I feel, okay, let's back it up. I feel like, you know what? These kids are communicating their feelings to one another.
Are they?
Are they? Yeah. After like,
there's a lot of.
All right, wait. Let's hold on. Well, let's get into it. Well, first, Tyler, tell me how you've been since last time you were on the show.
He's probably had 5 other kids.
When was that? When was the last time?
Yeah, hold on. When was the last time when did that episode come out?
Christina's gonna kill us.
Okay, no.
I think
I know what I'm doing when I invite you on this show. So, that was May of 23, so just basically just a year ago.
Okay, I haven't had any kids since then.
Okay, cool.
And I'm not about it.
I did. I was like May. He was born in August. Was it 23 or 22? 22.
I had the same line of thought.
I haven't had any kids since that. I moved across the state. I used to live in Roanoke.
Yeah.
Now
you
I
moved
live
significantly closer to me. Maybe we'll even meet each other someday.
Let's not be crazy, okay?
Oh my God, you've never met Christina?
No.
She's a hoot.
Christina's stayed at my house now.
Yeah.
I was part of the family.
That's incredible. I love that.
Thank you. We out here making friends.
I'm making family, so that's what I do.
You can do both, though. That's what I'm saying. You can do both.
I've tried. I've
Get
really
you a
tried.
Tyler who can do both.
Let's see. I moved out here. I have a bunch of children, and that's been I play a lot of Mario Party.
Okay, cool. Do you play with your kids?
I do. I play with my oldest. She's 4.
Hell yeah.
And she can play. And my godson's 8, and he
Man,
plays.
maybe I should have a kid because my husband will not play Mario Party with me.
Everybody should have a kid exclusively for the Mario Party thing.
Yeah.
All the other shit is pretty good. Mario Party, amazing.
Tyler, where, like, do you like Deathly Hallows? Like, in terms of the Harry Potter installments, like, where does this rank for you?
I don't know. I think I've traditionally always been about 1 through 3. And then feeling like 4 is the worst piece of literature. And then 5, 6, and 7 are good, but I was always a fan of 1 through 3. Like they could be equally good, but I liked the first ones.
Okay.
That being said, when I started reading this a few days ago, I was like, oh my god, this is so good. I just like immediately melted into it. I really enjoyed it.
Did you read more than just this chapter in preparation?
I read the first 15 chapters.
Okay, and I just want to really reiterate to everyone listening that no one is required to do that for this podcast.
I only did it because I think Deathly Hallows is the book in this series. I mean, I know it's the one that I've read the least because it's the last one, but yeah. I think that number could be like below 5.
I feel you. I mean, it definitely starts with a bang. I think that are you planning to keep reading after this chapter? Because this is when it gets real slow and like depressing, I feel.
It doesn't stay there for that long, though.
It feels so long.
Well, when you do a chapter a week, it's probably like an hour in real time for him.
No, I've stated previously that to me, it literally is happening faster in this podcast than it usually feels reading it. Usually reading it, it feels like it's so long. It's like 100 years of camping. But
that's true. That's
Ron's
true.
already gone.
That's how I feel about the Fellowship of the Ring, but that's 100% true.
But with Fellowship, it's accurate, and because I have this impression of Deathly Hallows that, like, this is really the only chapter where it's like we're in the weeds of it and we're all really depressed, because then there's Godric's Hollow, and like that's kind of exciting, and then I think Ron comes back. Like things progress a lot quicker than I have my own memory of. Like in my mind, this chapter is actually 5 chapters.
Yes. Yeah. I completely agree. Ethan, what about you? Where does this book fall for you?
So, I actually really like the latter series, and I've really come around to the movies of the latter series kind of as I've aged. Mm-hmm. To the point where I really think, like, if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I'd have been like, no way. But now I'm like, I don't know if 5 or 6 is my favorite movie, which is never a thing I would have thought. But Deathly Hallows, I work for my job on a different Harry Potter podcast.
Oh, right.
And they're 4 or 5 weeks now into Prisoner of Azkaban. Mm-hmm. And so listening even to just this chapter of Deathly Hallows was like, they did grow up at some point, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because it happens so slowly over the course of the series that you just, like, you get brought right there with them. It's a whole year every time in your life and in their life and whatever. But yeah, it was just a sharp contrast of like, oh, Harry's like having real. There was a part where he was like, he felt he could have been 13 again, just unable to. The only person that passed out on the Hogwarts Express. I was listening to Jim Dale read it. I was just like, man, Harry's having like a really like powerful memory moment here that like 13-year-old Harry does not know how to have.
Yes. Yeah, definitely Harry is doing like more thinking with his own stupid little head these days.
I love Harry. I genuinely do. I think this revisit of the series is when I've been most fresh on like fantasy lore in general. Like I'm way into D&D right now. And so like this is the first time I've come back to the series and been like, of course, Voldemort needs to take over a high school. He's a wizard. And wizards go to school. That's like what makes them wizards. And so like the headmaster of the school would be a big deal, like not just the principal of a high school. So that was a really interesting thing to think about as I read through the book this time. And then Harry becomes this like what, Ethan?
I've never thought about Harry Potter wizards as like
fantasy wizards.
Like, came to magic by study. Like,
yeah.
Well, That's why I've been known in the past to refer to them as magicians, because I just feel like their magic is so much like lamer and randomer than like good magic systems.
It's because there is no magic
calling a
system.
magician.
It's not a hard magic system. It's not a soft magic system. It is a.
It's just
do
not a system.
magic.
Yeah.
I love that Harry Potter's magic is like almost small. Like there are no massive spells here. You know what I mean? Like you can kill people, but even the biggest spells more or less are like 1v1, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything comes down to dueling.
If you watch the movies, like, in order, you would think that, like, oh, man, Newt Scamander is the greatest wizard alive. Like, he's obviously better at magic than anybody in the original series.
Man, honestly, thinking about the D&D wizard aspect is like I'm thinking it's coming upon me slowly, because like in terms of combat, our characters are useless. Like they got nothing.
But if the whole campaign was wizards,
Oops, all wizards.
it's oops all wizards and
Wizards all the way down.
and like human variant.
Yeah, I feel like when you're like a low level bard and you're like, I'll sing you a song, I'll make friends,
Bardic inspiration.
I'll make a breeze, and it's like, this is nothing. You have nothing for us.
I'm sorry, Voldemort would get waxed by, like, a third-level Agnazar Scorcher.
Voldemort would get waxed by, I'm trying to think, like Goliath Barbarian versus Voldemort is a one hit kill.
Listeners, I have no idea what's going on because I don't play D&D, and I'm
But like,
just sitting here
context,
nodding.
right?
No,
you
I
said
do
Goliath. He said Goliath. You've heard of Goliath before, right?
Yeah, sure, the Bible, but I don't know
Yeah,
what
that's the one.
I don't know what
That's-
the Bible
Yo,
and
Goliath in the
D&D
Bible
have to
was
do
a
with
big
each other.
motherfucker.
But like Goliath means big.
Big
So,
guy,
like,
big guy.
And you know what a barbarian is.
Barbar.
Thickos.
Barbar.
Anyway, let's talk about the chapter.
Thank you
Hey,
for
so, hold on,
switching
that's-
to a topic I know.
Hold on. So that's what I'm saying is, I think of Harry, back to the D&D context, as like Harry rushes in. Is like Harry is the fighter of the group, even though he's still a wizard.
For no fucking reason, yes.
You know, at this point, like, I don't know if he realizes it, but, like, he is
He's
kind
a
of, like,
warlock.
unkillable. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he is unmurderable at the moment.
Yeah. He doesn't act like
But
it.
it took him
Oh, no, he does act like it.
It took him 6 books to realize that he was never gonna get expelled. Ever. Under any circumstances, for any reason.
Man, in Harry Potter and the Boys, which is a very funny podcast about a very funny Harry Potter fan fiction that the host wrote when he was 12, they have Expelled House, where if you get expelled, you stay at the school and you sleep in the Chamber of Secrets and you just are expelled.
That would be like the most like the most Hogwarts thing. Like there is a fifth house that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
It's the one Filch is in.
Yeah.
All of them were deceived, for another house was created.
Okay, now let's start the chapter.
Do we? I think this is fun.
Can I say one last thing to intro this chapter?
Do
real quick?
it. I don't give
So,
a shit.
Tyler read all 15 chapters, right? I just read this one completely in a vacuum.
Which is the official recommendation.
Because
of
I
this
totally knew
podcast.
this was coming up, and then it got to 7 o'clock, and I was like, oh, fuck. I have not read the chapter.
Been there.
And so I was like, holy shit, I gotta go read this. I never want to give this author credit for anything. But
No,
you
I'm
really can pick these books up at any single chapter of the series and be like, yep. Like, if you know what's going on already, like, you have a vague... Like, you've read it once, you can pick these books up at any chapter and be like, yep, I know exactly where we are. Within 3 sentences, she's just like, I'm like, oh yeah, they just got back from the ministry. They have Moody's Eye.
I know, but do you think you would feel that way if there was some other book series you had read like 15 times? Because I haven't read anything this many times.
Maybe.
I just
Do you
think...
think that's the author? Or do
Okay,
you think
but I
that's just
haven't.
repetition and memorization?
Yeah, but okay. We read it so many times for a reason.
Not even that. Not even that as much as, like, I don't know any other authors that spend so many words in a chapter talking about what happened in the last chapter.
That's true.
Like, usually-
especially when it's like a traumatic event.
Now, yeah, she also definitely is, like, chapters are, like, it's like they're storybooks, right? Like, they're still for kids at the end of the day. Like, each chapter is, like, a story. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just like, okay, there's a different POV, so it's a new chapter.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, sometimes she has like her miscellaneous chapters that are not cohesive.
Oh my god, can you freaking imagine if Joanne wrote this damn series in this era of POV changing every chapter?
No. No, thank you.
Oh my god.
And they would be so hot. All of them. All the time.
No, I don't want that.
I noticed Dean Thomas's rippling abs.
The next chapter from Dean Thomas's perspective.
I noticed my own rippling abs.
I flex my pectoral muscles.
And then the next chapter is like Ron being like, it's weird how Dean is always staring at his muscles and flexing them in the mirror.
I thought it was the mirror of Erised, but it's just a normal mirror. But what I want is Dean's muscles.
POV switches to Ron. He's like, I don't know how Pansy Parkinson got in our common room. However, she is here with Dean. Has anybody done that ship yet?
All right, I'm going to start the fucking chapter, guys.
Okay.
Boo.
I know that's a controversial thing to do, but I'm going to do it. Early the next morning, which is the next morning after the fucking Ministry of Magic heist, and they set up camp in the woods. And so the next morning, Harry buries Mad Eye Moody's Mad Eye in the woods. He took it off of Umbridge's office door, and they never found Moody's body. So this is like his little goodbye to Mad Eye Moody. He buries the eye in the woods. They decide not to stay in one place too long, so they leave. And they operate near a small town. Harry goes out for food. He meets some Dementors, and he can't summon a Patronus charm. And that's how we learn that, like, the Horcrux makes you sad. Okay, so now nobody has anything to say, huh?
No, I mean,
I was so enjoying everything.
I was waiting for you to finish what you're saying.
I didn't want to interrupt. I was like, I don't.
Big set. Okay, well, actually,
Get in
first,
here.
let's
Get
talk
in
about
here.
why Ron is the worst.
Yeah.
Before he even wears the Horcrux, because he's like, I'm fine going anywhere as long as it's within reach of a bacon sandwich. And it's like, shut up, Ron. This is the chapter, I think, where a lot of the like goofy caricatures of Ron always eating like really comes from. Is him just like constantly being hangry.
And that's like totally different. It's a totally different vibe from just being like hilariously food shoveling in every scene like he is in the movies. Like he's having like a real experience here of being hungry for the first time in his fucking life, and that's hard.
Yeah, Ron, he is many things, but not hungry. Maybe always hungry, not unsatiated.
Okay, here's what I say when someone says, "Christina, are you hungry?" I say, "That's my secret."
I'm always hungry.
Let's see, what else did you say? Oh yeah,
Moody's
he gets sad.
eye.
Oh yeah, the eye.
The eye.
That was good.
You know what? I wanted to
Is
say
this
that was good.
commentary?
Like, I was sitting here reading this whole freaking book, like, man, D&D magic. Look at all these cool magic items. It's oops, all wizards, plus a bunch of magic items. And then they get the eye, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to bury it. And I was like, oh, that's dumb.
What was he going to do? Shove it in his own fucking
Yeah,
head?
Pirate Harry.
Actually, he should have. That's a great idea.
That would have made Ron and Hermione run off for sure. If Harry was
Rip
just
out
like,
an
ah!
eye. Put in
Going back to the
Mad Eyes.
D&D analogy, another big similarity is the way that you get really dope, cool magical items, and then when you need them most, you forget you have them. I.e., when you need somewhere really secure to put a Horcrux, and you forget that you have a bag that only you can reach into, so you don't have to wear it around your neck.
Ooh, yeah.
There's
That's a
gotta
good
be,
point.
I mean, I know we read like this chapter, so surely we would have discovered this. There's gotta be an in-universe explanation for why they couldn't put it in there.
No,
They
because-
say that they just should.
They just
that's
like
the
we don't want to.
explanation.
They're like we don't want to lose it, or we don't want it to get stolen, or something like that.
Because there's no good reason for them to wait until June to do anything in any of these books, so they have to come up with fucking side quests. We have to
true.
camp for 3 months. Therefore, we have to be mean to each other. That's the whole thing.
It's true. The way that the Triwizard Tournament was just a side quest. to
The way that
plot
Dolores
at hand.
Umbridge was literally a side quest.
Oh my god! Don't I get?
Also,
the Phoenix. Never
I know it was the
fucking
last
again.
chapter, but unnecessary bringing Umbridge back up. Like, doesn't serve any purpose. In
I
these
think
books.
Dolores Umbridge is the funniest part of the series to me, because doesn't her character get killed off by, like, getting pillaged?
No, I think she survives.
Yeah.
But her story ends by, like, she makes babies with a bunch of centaurs.
Okay, I have a couple
Did you
clarifying
not
things.
read? You just said you read the first 15 chapters.
Order
of
of
this
the
book.
Phoenix ends with her getting carried into the woods by centaurs.
That's in the past?
And
That's already happened?
That's in the past, and some people have speculated that she was sexually assaulted. That is not canon. There's no evidence for that. And I don't believe that when somebody gets raped, we call that making little centaur babies.
I thought that was an aggressive
It's okay.
term.
We can all think of the musical universe of a Harry Potter sequel where it's just Ferenz is someone with like a paper mache pony butt,
So fucking funny.
and then they do run off to make love, but she's like
Consensual love.
into it.
She's into it. Yeah, so that happened, and then Dumbledore went in and got her, and this is her recovered. Do we think she's been in therapy for her PTSD?
She must have done something, because she does, like, produce a Patronus.
Or denial is just really strong, and she's like, I'm
I'm
fine.
fine. I'm happy. This is what I'm happy.
Or she fell in love with a very nice centaur.
Yeah, and they had really nice kids, and they're on a wait list for the local preschool.
That's all really cute, but she is a blood purist when it comes to
Yeah.
like even wizards.
I forgot.
I don't
this
know
isn't
that
a-
she
this isn't
is.
A fun book.
I don't know her heritage offhand, so if you do, at me.
No, because she lies.
But she
about
lies about it
We don't know.
earlier in
Respectfully,
this book.
Why are we talking about Umbridge when she's not in this chapter?
Because she's in the
literally not in
previous
this
chapter. But like I think she's more like Voldemort, where she's not like, she is siding with the bad guys so hard to protect herself.
But she was
Potentially.
siding with the bad. She was siding with the bad guys when the bad guys like were not on top of it. Like in Order of the Phoenix, and she's out. I'm not.
She helped the bad
She's
guys
a real
get on
child
top of it.
abuser. Yeah, she was there in the beginning. She was there when the fascists.
Yeah,
were
lawful
written.
neutral, and then, working for corrupt laws.
No, I don't think so. I think she's super evil, but lawful. Yes. Corporal punishment against children.
So then
It's England.
Hermione
They
has
do
this
that there.
idea that the Horcrux might be making Harry feel sad.
When you read this, I'm so happy I'm
need
on this podcast with you, Mary Clay. When you read this, were you like, it took you 7 books to get to the Fellowship? Like, what is this?
Yes. Well, and Jason in last week definitely drew the analogy to the rings. You got to put it around your neck. and
I can
it's
carry
like
you, Mr. Frodo.
weighing you down.
Thank you for actually reminding me of like my biggest gripe with Lord of the Rings. I was like, why didn't they just fucking take turns with it, like the Horcrux, so that it's not always negatively affecting Frodo, and that like when he's at his lowest, it's like, okay, Sam, it's time for you. Okay, maybe not Gollum. That's a bad example.
Here, Gollum, hang on.
Here,
to this,
Boromir.
buddy. Don't run
Your
off with it.
Here, Boromir, this will be fine. Actually, no, Boromir, you don't.
You don't get it.
You don't get a turn
You
today.
don't get it.
It's just maybe just the 4 hobbits.
I
you
think
know?
because even Sam would be corrupted as long as we're talking about it. Why are we talking about Umbridge?
No, because okay, look, reminder that Sam's
I knew
vision
this episode was
of
gonna
being
be like
corrupted by the ring is him planting gardens across Middle Earth. That is his version
pure.
of ruling Middle Earth with an iron fist. Not with an iron fist, but with a green thumb.
Maybe just give Sam the ring next time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
not
Sam the ring.
not to hold it for a little while. Just give him ultimate power.
The O2 quality in Middle Earth is unbelievable.
So as bad as the trading off the Horcrux thing works out in this chapter, I still think it's a logical plan, to
It would be
follow.
logical if they didn't have so many magical containers they could keep it in.
Yeah.
Because
What
they
about
really
the
just
fucking
do have
jar
other
that
options.
Hermione put Rita Skeeter in when she was a beetle?
Great point, Mary Clay. What about that? Where's that at?
It would corrupt the
Hermione?
jar.
Oh my god. Okay.
The jar opens itself and the locket hops out and runs away.
So Hermione tells Harry to take off the locket, and he feels much better. And they are.
It's almost like a form of therapy,
so mad
right?
And you're, well, I was just about to say, like, you're like so mad, and then you sit down and you bite into your sub from fucking Jimmy John's, and you're like, oh wait, I wasn't even mad. I was just really hungry.
That's
And, like,
me
it
in a
just
that's me
goes
in a
away.
Baja Blast and a Crunch Wrap. Absolutely.
Like, can you imagine if Harry was like, I just want to appreciate how good things are right now. Give me the Horcrux so I can take it off.
So they apparate to near a farm. They take some eggs and bread and leave some money. Here's the thing. Here's something that I feel strongly. If you're saving the world, you're allowed to steal from people. Hey, I'm playing Fallout 4 right now, and I'm only looking for my dead son. I'm not even saving anyone except him, and I'm stealing a lot of shit to make that happen.
In Legend, in Zelda, in Breath of the Wild, and in Tears of the Kingdom, there are moments where if you go into the villages and you try to pick like individual villagers, like Pumpkin Patch or something, they're like, hey, that's mine. And I'm like, I'm fucking saving this world.
Yeah, literally give it to
Give me the
Give
pumpkin.
me the fortified pumpkin.
It's like the leaving the money thing is just so not necessary. Like, I get that they're stealing from like people on a farm, but like those people can go to the grocery store.
Yeah, what are they gonna do with your wizard money?
Yeah, that's
I think it's probably
Hermione's gotta
Muggle
have
money,
Muggle
knowing
money.
Hermione. Yeah,
Either that or it's just gold coins.
she obliviated her parents to go to Australia. She obliviated them to send her fucking 20K in her bank account first.
Imagine it's not Jim Dale or Stephen Fry or your brain reading it or picturing Emma Watson doing it, and just make Hermione like a really silly character for a second. That obliviate scene loses all its power if she's like, yeah, I made my parents idiots that want to go to Australia.
No, I don't think it loses
It
its
does
power.
because Australia is such a silly word.
So there's like a bit of a next couple days montage. The food thing is a real issue, and I have a real issue with the food because it's a problem. Harry's used to starving. Hermione's a woman, so she's used to being uncomfortable. Ron is not okay.
What sort of shit DM makes you track food? That's my thing. It's like...
But like the thing is that Hermione is like food can only be brought, like we can only magic food if we know where to find food, Ronald. And I'm like, bitch,
Go to a grocery
you
store.
know there's food in a Walmart. Like, what are you
Yet they're
doing?
not
you
checking.
know,
Voldemort's
you know
not
there's
checking.
food.
I was about to say.
Oh my god. Like, people at the end of the world can still find Twinkies in a fucking gas station, Zombieland. Like, there's no reason they should be starving. Like, there's none at all. I'm not putting this on Hermione because she planned literally every moment of their trip, but they could have made more food happen at the Weasley. If they didn't want to steal, they could have packed a bunch of food. Like, there's just
Well,
so
they
many...
didn't. That was the whole thing. Is they didn't when everything went down with the Ministry. They thought they were going back to
Grimmauld Place.
Grimmauld Place, so they didn't pack any food.
They had all their other shit packed. She could have thought about food ahead of time. Not that I'm putting this on Hermione because again,
Sounds
She
like
could
you are.
literally throw
she
a
did
cigarette
literally
lighter
all of the other...
and some cans of refried beans in there, and they would have been set, my guy.
Yeah, like, literally, it is not that hard.
Well, my thing is like Ted Talk's dumbass walks over to a fucking river and goes, "Asio salmon,"
Ted Tong's dumb.
and a salmon flies out.
Yeah.
and it's like the delicious smell of baked salmon.
And salmons are big.
And I'm
Like,
like-
you're good on one salmon.
Y'all
for
didn't
a couple
try
days.
Asio salmon?
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. I actually have to Google something. England River
The
salmon.
Thames.
Yeah, I would
The
not eat
Thames?
salmon out of the
Is that-
Thames.
You don't
Can that
want
be
any
right?
fish out of the river
Can that be
Thames.
right? Oh, okay. So apparently in the autumn they migrate upstream in England to spawn.
Also, they didn't have to be in England. They've been teleporting around. They could have been in America.
Yeah, but they can't teleport to continental Europe.
They stay in England. You better fucking believe it.
Voldemort had to fly back from Nurmengard.
So they could have just like gone to Canada and been fine.
They could have taken a boat.
But how are they going to find Horcrux?
Who cares?
in Canada?
What was the name of that prison?
Ner-
Nurmengard?
Yeah.
Nurmengard.
And it's like frightfully similar to Nuremberg, right?
Yes. She's very clever. She named her villain Wormtail.
Yeah, it's where Grindelwald is kept. It's his castle that was his home. And that so like Grindelwald, there probably wasn't actually a fight. They probably didn't actually fight, and Grindelwald probably just gave
Oh
up
man, that line in this
realistically.
book where she's like, I think Rita Skeeter or somebody's like, yeah, I heard that Grindelwald just conjured a white hanky at the end of his wand. It's
100%
gotta be.
what happened.
And that's like that to me
100%
is the
what
most
happened.
romantic way for that fight to end.
Yeah, Dumbledore's like, hey, fucking go away. Just and Grindelwald's like, yeah, I have fucked up. I'm sorry. I
I'm
will
Johnny
go
Depp
away.
again because
Thank
Johnny
you.
Depp was innocent.
Okay, guys. They're really unsure what to do next. Ron does this cool thing that a lot of men like to do where he has a lot of problems and no solutions. A lot of problems, no solutions. Why don't you try fixing something, my dude, instead of just opening your mouth about
Yeah,
it?
Hermione fucking calls him out. She's like, fine, why don't you fucking go fishing tomorrow? And
it's crazy the way that Hermione does literally everything. She sets up the protections. She packs everything. She's
Yeah.
in charge of preparing them food. And why? For what? If anything, Ron should know how to fucking cook.
no, I would believe that he doesn't because his mom has always cooked for him.
And the house elves.
I know, but like Hermione is notoriously bad at cooking. So it's like, it's no more her responsibility than anyone else's.
Yeah,
You know?
it just falls to her because of these three, if you were like, one of them has to prepare a meal for you. I would choose Hermione just because I think Ron
need
and
it.
Harry would somehow accidentally poison me.
I just think that Hermione is the only one who does a single fucking thing during most of this book.
Yes.
It's really bothering me on this read through the way that they prepared nothing.
They're very.
and do
I mean,
nothing.
Harry rushes in. Okay, he also can scry on Voldemort, and that seems like a valuable skill.
I was gonna say, he's
You're
got to do
right.
a lot of thinking about stuff.
But Hermione's
you know?
like, stop doing that.
Hermione's like, your ocular.
Hermione
I will
doesn't
say,
even
Ron
value
comes in
that.
clutch with like, hey, maybe stop saying the name. Okay.
Luckily,
I accidentally read half of the next chapter because I didn't know where it stopped.
the audiobook kept going.
Yeah,
I
I kept going, and I was just like enthralled. I was just like, man, they're gonna go to Harry's parents' graves. I bet that's a moment. And Hermione is 100% right about like, I don't want to go to Godric's Hollow. So like, but nobody ever listens to her.
No, but at the same, oh my god, this is just still not this chapter. But at the same time, it's like, what else are they supposed to do?
That is
Their
yeah,
only
it's
lead.
just
No,
like
for
how
sure.
I asked you, Christina, if you wanted to go to the Squirrels game on the 4th of July. What else are we supposed to do?
and then we both were like,
then we both were
do you
like-
actually maybe want to like not do
Actually,
Oh,
that?
I want to go to Squirrels game on the 4th of July. That sounds
July.
awesome.
Well, then get the fuck over to Richmond and
We
we'll
already
go.
have other plans. Oh.
Oh, I was gonna say I will gladly do that. I'll be in Fredericksburg.
Well, you can come to my house. We're watching Independence Day in my backyard. Okay, anyway, so Ron is very restless and useless. Harry really believes that something is at Hogwarts, but I think that
I mean, he's
He's
right.
not wrong. Yeah.
he's not wrong, but like even dumber than going to Godric's Hollow would be
He's
going to
fucking-
Hogwarts.
Yeah, not
and
to-
also, we can't do that till June. You gotta
Right.
wait till
Bro.
June.
You gotta get all, you know, to bring it back to Breath of the Wild, you can go fight Ganon from the beginning. You're not ready yet.
But you're gonna miss all of those Korok seeds.
You've never even heard of a diadem yet, bruv.
The real
Like,
fight with Ganon is the friends we made along the way.
Skyrim is the same game.
the perfectly good jewelry that we destroyed along the way.
That's right. All their theories. I've been there before, though, in this kind of mindset where you're trying to like think through a solution for something, and you just talk through the same crap.
They're
over
all
and over
bad
again.
solutions.
Is
They're
this
all
the
bad
chapter,
ideas.
or was
Yeah.
it the previous
Yeah.
chapter? I know we talked about TED Talks where like,
He's about
okay,
to
so
show
that's in
up.
this chapter where they go over to the
Yeah.
like they set up camp and then like, okay,
Wait,
okay,
wait
okay.
for us to get there. I urge
Okay.
you to wait for us to get there. Okay, so Hermione is like, let's not go to Hogwarts because Dumbledore definitely would have found it. And Harry is like, Uno reverse, Dumbledore specifically said that he wouldn't have maybe. He never claimed to know all of Hogwarts' secrets. And Harry just like knows thematically, almost as if he's in a novel, that Voldemort was connected to Hogwarts. If he's hiding something, it's likely to be there. They're just like, what? They're like, what-ing around. They go to London to look for the orphanage. It was demolished. And Harry's like, well, that was dumb anyway because he fucking hated it here. So they just keep camping for weeks and the vibes are bad. The vibes are really bad.
Can you imagine if, because they talk about how he went into exile in Albania, and they're like, that could be a potential spot. Can you imagine what this book would have been like if there was an Albania subplot, side quest?
Where they go and search the entire country of Albania.
You know what I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
You mean Hermione had like never stayed in a hotel room that they could apparate to?
Well, how do they know it's empty?
You could check.
Yeah,
like
like
you could
it's
Just
check.
showing up in a...
What? But just apparate in and be like,
Yeah,
anyone around?
hotel rooms aren't
and
that
then...
big.
Okay, so I'm not that worried about their accommodations because this tent is nice. In fact, give me a fucking second.
I was ready to roll. I thought you were gonna ask me.
Did it win our bracket? Hold on. I think the magic tent won the bracket.
What bracket was this?
Fucking our friend Phil in the Discord has been doing a magical items bracket where we've been voting for our favorite of 2 magical items every day, and the magic tent won. In the end, the number 1 favorite magical item in the entire universe, above a broomstick and a magic wand and the purse of everything. Like, the magic tent won. So shout out to Phil for doing that.
It feels so almost possible, right? Like, it's a thing you can't wrap your mind around what it's like to have a magic wand. You can wrap your mind around what it's like to have a big ass tent.
Yeah, you've been in a camper before.
like a big tent, you know? Like,
So I feel like they're kind of in a hotel room.
I guess.
Yeah.
The tent is
stove,
nice.
dog. Like,
Okay.
what?
Yeah.
She's never been
Like
at a
with
home
a
two suites.
kitchenette.
Like, I mean,
I stayed in home 2 suites.
they're so nice. I love them. Oh, darn. Fresh linens. Like,
Everyone is bad. Harry's scar keeps hurting. He keeps getting visions of this fucking guy's face.
isn't it like Barty Crouch Jr.?
Hermione. No, it's
Barty
Jamie
Crouch Jr.'s dead.
Campbell-Bower,
Very dead by now, I'm pretty
it's-
sure.
Grindelwald. No, the
It's-
thief. The thief was Grindelwald.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
He
It
stole
was
the wand
Grindelwald.
from Grigorovich.
I get confused with the 2 genies.
Yeah.
And Harry keeps picking up on Hermione and Ron talking about him when he's not there, which is a bad feeling.
And also, Ron's being annoying about, like, the little visions he's having. Because he's like, oh, who'd you see? And Harry's like, oh, you know, just the same
fucking
guy.
thing.
And Ron's mad that, like, he can't magically see, like, his family. And it's like,
that's
Ron,
not how any of this works.
Not everything is about you.
Why do you want Voldemort to be looking at your family?
That is a great question that Harry should have asked him.
Except for they're both dumb. So
They're not talking to each other. Remember who said that people are
They
communicating?
they
in this
fight.
show?
They fight and split up.
the
That is not
communication is because they
communication.
were not communicating.
Exactly. That's a build-up. That
Do
is
you
a
guys
direct
talk
result
more
of
than
not
that?
communicating. Oh my god, Tyler. So one night the vibes are like extra bad. Harry's bragging that his mom can make a food appear from nowhere,
You
and
mean
this is when
Ron.
Hermione is like, "What did I say?"
Harry.
God.
I was like,
Harry
bro,
doesn't-
okay,
Harry
I
doesn't
missed
have a
this.
mom.
Like, weird memory moment.
Ron is bragging that his mom can make food appear from nowhere, and this is when Hermione's like, "You idiot! You can't fucking do that. You have to know where it is, like a gas station or a Walmart."
Or the river!
Or the woods.
Just fucking summon some Twinkies.
And Hermione's like, I'm just doing this because I'm the girl. And that's like a classic J.K. Rowling being like, see, look, I found the sexism. And it's like, no, bitch, you
But
wrote
you
the
wrote it
sexism.
that way,
You
yeah,
wrote the sexism.
yeah.
You didn't find it.
She does mention that Harry caught the fish, and I do want just like
Let
a
us see that.
cutscene. Yeah.
Harry fly fishing.
I wanted to hit him in the face.
Or just Harry Potter with like a spear, and then when they hear later on them be like Accio salmon, that he's like under his breath like, oh, fuck, I didn't think of that.
And I want to know like who cleaned the fish and prepared it for eating. I would also like to know that.
I imagine Hermione.
I bet it wasn't Ron.
I just hope that if that the show actually happens and stuff, like we get that cutscene. That's all I want out of this TV show is like just a little, like a silly cutaway every
A
now
classic
and then.
Family Guy cutaway.
A Family
yeah.
Guy cutaway, and it's just Harry wrestling with a fish.
He's like, I didn't know salmon were this big.
Harry caught the fish.
And I prepared it, and then cut to Hermione being like, ew, 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 ew.
Guys, they should let us direct the new Harry Potter series.
I'll do it
good.
if they boot J.K. Rowling.
I'll do
Harry
it if
Potter-
it's actually not about Harry Potter at all. If it's a completely different show altogether.
Yeah, I'll do it if I'm allowed to make it progressive.
There were moments reading this where I was like, this is progressive. Look at you, like,
No, man, she's doing the cooking.
okay, yeah, there were moments where I said that too, but
I mean, but this is where J.K. Rowling becomes a real fucking fantasy author, right? Like, this is where she was like, my first page where I introduce racism that I created with my bare hands.
that happened
really
when
did.
she was like, and then they got to Gringotts Bank, and all the goblins were Jewish.
But like, I mean, you literally open the first page of Mistborn, and it's like slaves.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that.
Oh,
It is not
so
subtle.
good.
Harry hears some people outside the tent by the river, and they listen in because they're just like I mean, first of all, I don't know about y'all, but I just listen in.
Yeah.
If you walk into
Also,
my
they
hearing, I'm
use-
listening.
They use extendable ears. That's a
Oh, yeah, I forgot
fun
about that.
callback to
Spy Kids.
simpler times, you know?
Yeah.
What's the order doing? We've got a little extender ears.
Fred and George Weasley were actual fucking geniuses.
Geniuses.
They
Yeah,
made so
should've-
many useful
I wish-
things.
You know how in like spy movies, like Spy Kids, they're like, and here's your gear. Here's this this
The
floss that actually
rebreathers
is
that
a robe.
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon used.
Yeah.
So I wish that Fred and George had been like, we've actually been working on a line specifically for you guys, and like busted out all this cool, dope magic stuff. That would have been so cool.
Oh my god.
Puking pustules. Remote detonators.
Exploding puking pasta. This is just a laser watch. We got nick this off a bloke in MI6.
Is that from Kingsman?
No,
No,
What's that
that's,
from?
that's
that
from
was
our
my
made-up
impression of
Fred and George.
Stealing, going into
wait.
in this universe, James Bond and Harry Potter canonically happen in the same universe.
But I think there's an extant movie that says no, this is just a watch.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, well, I wonder.
It probably
if I
is
can Google that
Kingsman.
joke.
If you have not watched those movies, you should watch those movies.
I guess I don't know. I googled "this is just a watch" and nothing came up except for "just watch." So there are several people outside the tent. 2 goblins, Ted Tonks, a Muggleborn, Dean Thomas, our friend,
Dean Thomas.
Muggleborn.
Looking at his
Hot
abs.
Dean Thomas. Yeah.
Well, that's why D. Thomas is in my head.
Dean Thomas, who looked kind of like Finnick O'Dare.
Well, and like, not to be this way, but Dean Thomas was played by Alfred Enoch, who grew up to be an insanely hot adult.
Yeah.
Just extremely sexy. And then Dirk
Cresswell. Come on.
Diggler. Oh,
He
Dirk
did something.
Cresswell.
No, he's Dirk Cresswell. He did something else in the series, and I can't fucking remember what.
Oh, no, I remember because it was kind of recently because Leela said, what the fuck is Dirk? I've never heard Dirk before. And I was like, haven't you ever seen Boogie Nights? So that means he was in Chapter 13, the Muggleborn Registration Commission. Oh, they talked about him because Harry is incognito as Runcorn, and Arthur Weasley is
yeah.
like, I know you fucked up Dirk Cresswell's family tree, and now Dirk Cresswell's in hiding because of it.
Here's my thing about the whole Raincorn scene.
Another chapter.
Why is this in the freaking book?
Did you say Rancor?
Raincorn.
It's
It's
Runcorn.
Runcorn.
I don't
Oh,
know.
is it? I was
doesn't
on
matter.
board with any and all of those names.
Runcorn.
I find that scene quite fun. Harry is hot and evil and doesn't know what to do about it.
Now that's a line from Gen Z Harry Potter, for sure. Runkel's rippling muscles. Hermione was strangely attracted to him.
So the goblins, in general, take no sides in this wizard's war. They're in hiding for refusing a, quote, impertinent request.
This is a clue the DM gives that I don't follow at all.
Yeah.
I think the request was...
He said he's not a house elf, so...
Oh, so maybe it was something very, like, casual and run-of-the-mill, like, get me a fucking coffee.
I'm assuming it was elf stuff, yeah.
Yeah. But, like, this is, again, J.K. Rowling being like, do you see how the goblins are racist against the house elves? They think they're better than the house elves. And it's like, bitch, you wrote both of these subjugated species.
You guys
did
remember
not
the
have
time?
to do this.
You remember the time that Harry freed the slave that I made up and gave him?
But not the other slave that I made up and gave him. He abandoned that one.
That slave likes working too much.
No, he just has too many secrets. I do kind of get it. He has too many secrets. Yeah, so the goblin, I don't know, like, they're like, we don't take sides. But I do feel like if you are in hiding because you are being persecuted, like, you're on a side.
You're in hiding with another group that is being persecuted.
Yeah, I just feel like that's a side.
I feel like maybe the commentary here is like, you can't not pick a side. Like,
Yeah,
like you
you're
can
gonna
think you're
grab
not picking a
evidence.
side. You picked a side.
Yeah.
A side is choosing that you are the problem.
No thanks. I choose life.
Wait, what is that
What is that? Is that just
Ice
you?
Age.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was
So-
just you.
No.
So Griphook left Hogwarts when the Death Eaters took over, and then we learned that Ginny tried to steal the Sword of Gryffindor from Dumbledore's office, and Harry is like, that's hot.
That's my girlfriend, kinda.
People always talk about, oh, I wish there was a Marauders series. I want the Marauders. They're so sexy and great. No, you don't. You don't want 7 books of Wormtail. That sounds icky. 2, the book series you really want is Neville, Ginny, and Luna.
Yeah.
Causing
the big
low-grade havoc, I believe was the...
That's the book series you're really interested in, is a
Yeah.
different trio while
I'm
Harry,
with
Ron,
you.
and Hermione are doing this.
Doing Harry, Ron, and Hermione's characters, but, like, better.
But, like, better in every way. Like, oh,
Much
Harry,
better.
you killed the basilisk?
Neville and Luna
I
falling in love, and Ginny being like, I don't.
accidentally
You're
tamed
both
the
insane.
basilisk.
Yeah.
I think it would be Ginny and Luna falling in love, and Neville being like, good for them.
Good for them. Neville being, like, fully ace.
Neville's with Dean Thomas with his rippling muscles.
Good for them. It would have series of unfortunate events energy. You know how, like, all of the adults are just so cartoonishly idiotic or evil
Yeah.
in that
Yes.
series, but they're, like, at Hogwarts, and it's out of context of the larger plot, so it's like everyone here is just, like, cartoonishly evil, and we have
Everybody
to
who's so
create
stupid.
small havoc.
So,
Yeah.
between Ginny, Neville, and Luna, which one of them choose their way out of problems?
Luna.
I don't know. Ginny gives me Chompers vibes.
Oh, the bitch would bite. Yeah.
She is the most feral.
She is the most feral. Wholeheartedly agree. I think they both would bite. I think Neville would certainly not bite.
Oh, Neville's Klaus for sure.
Oh, yeah, Harry has a tattoo of an eagle across his chest. I'm just like, it makes so much more sense if she's the main character for her to say that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Ginny tried to steal the sword from Dumbledore's office. Snake sent it to
Hell yeah, she
Snape.
did. I've been here this whole time.
You sure haven't, actually, because like the conversation that we just had.
We just talked about it so long.
It's like that episode where Aaron's of Hey Riddle Riddle, where Aaron's Wi-Fi just goes out in the middle, and then
Oh
they're
my
like,
god.
and then she comes back like 40 minutes later.
As Janet Varney, yeah.
No, we literally talked about the series of unfortunate events and which Hogwarts characters
Okay.
it would be.
But we're actually moving forward. So
Wait,
Snape
I want to show
sent-
everyone
Nope.
my tattoo.
Snape sent the sword to Gringotts to keep it safe, and that's when Griphook saw that it was a fake. And so everyone's like, nice. Thank God.
They all laugh.
Grimlock's like, Severus Snape has a fake and he doesn't know it.
Little did he know.
No,
I feel
goblins would know a real goblin-made sword. It's like, yeah, you really got him, man. I'm sure his sword is not doing sword stuff for him.
My thing, if goblin swords imbue themselves with whatever, impurities, why do they just find a different fucking goblin sword? Why do they have to get the one that's so hard to find?
Because it has the basilisk stuff.
Because we find out later in this book that is not a problem.
They have to go to
Ron
Hogwarts
can get to the Chamber of
basilisk
Secret.
stuff.
You can apparate to the Chamber of Secrets.
They could go to like a potions place
You
and
can't
get basilisk
apparate
venom.
into...
Ooh, that's a good point, Christina.
Go to a potion shop.
Yeah, like in
Because there's Dragon
Nocturnally,
Heartstring
yeah.
in the fucking wands. So surely...
Mm-hmm.
Also, and building on that, in addition to the other things that I was just saying...
Mm-hmm. Very natural.
Very beautiful, very powerful.
Ginny could pull the sword out of the hat. Easy.
Yeah, for sure. But she's a girl, don't forget. So she can't actually.
So all
They
she can do
can't-
is get seduced by the basilisk.
They absolutely cannot pull out. That's the thing. I'm firmly convinced.
They can't pull
The
out.
sword, the hat will only deliver
the
the
Weasleys
sword.
can't pull out.
The hat will only deliver the sword in instances of immediate snake killing.
Okay.
That's got to be it. That's the only times it ever delivers the sword.
You
ever.
don't-
Yeah, because it happens for Neville when he's about to get bit by Nagini.
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay, but like, I think also Neville pulls the sword out is like the climactic moment to, Ginny Weasley and the Sorceress, and I guess her first book would be in the Chamber of Secrets. That like at the end of the story, like imagine at the end of this series if Ron was the one to fucking get the sword.
No, I don't want to because he doesn't deserve it.
Also, yeah, this chapter proves it.
Yeah, agreed.
Ron is the first Gryffindor to show true bravery.
He is not doing it in this chapter. Okay, so we're still eavesdropping. They talk about Harry a little bit. We learned that the Quibbler is reporting proper news now. And it's actually more reliable than the Daily Prophet, which is bananas. But that's because the Prophet is being influenced, and the Quibbler is independent, always. 100% independent Quibbler.
Quibbler is journalism at its finest.
Agreed. Write about what you want, honey.
Right about what you want.
Even if it's fake.
The
There's no
Quibbler.
Crumplehorn Snortcax in the last issue.
Welcome to Night Vale. This is the Quibbler.
So this group leaves. I don't know. I wonder. I mean, Dean Thomas is a friend and Ted Tonks is a friend. Would you guys have revealed yourself to them at this point, or would you have stayed hidden like the gang?
I think no, because earlier in this very book, they don't trust Lupin and Lupin. That was a wild scene to read again. Why was
Yeah,
that?
man. How does it feel reading that as a dad?
Oh, don't ask him about another chapter that's not this chapter.
It was honestly reading it felt very similar to the Cho Chang scene where Harry and Cho actually go on a date and they fight in public and it was awful.
It's the best.
It's the worst.
It's Christina's favorite chapter.
God.
It's awful. I mean, it's awful.
It's hard to listen to.
Yeah.
Oh my god. They don't trust who people say they are. Anybody can be polyjuiced.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And if they, in theory, if somebody got, an inkling that Harry was in this general area and knew he was in hiding, polyjuice yourself as Dean Thomas and go, walk about and see if Harry Potter will come out of hiding for sexy Dean Thomas.
Yeah.
And also,
And his rippling muscles.
they can trust Ted and Dean. We don't know who this Dirks Bentley guy is. We don't know about these. The goblins are, they have a history of they will do what is good for them. So we have no idea of what if they were potentially put in a situation where they needed to reveal information. They could sell out. So if it was just Ted and Dean, then I probably would. But the other three we don't know as well. And then also that might have been a little bit goblinist of me to assume that we can't trust these two just because they're goblins.
It's because they're strangers, kind of like you said.
That
We
is
know
true.
We know Ted and we know Dean.
Stranger
but
danger.
It's Dirk as well. We don't know him. Anyone have a different answer?
Is
No,
this like
I
a
don't think
test?
so.
No, it's not a test.
Did I give the? That's like in a discussion class when you like you share your point and then the teacher's like, anyone
What
else?
else might it be?
And it's like that was a good try.
You're on to
Anyone
something.
else?
Oh, I know. 49.
About 8.
George Washington.
My godfather in middle school, I love this story so much. He got an award for being the quickest to respond with the wrong answer. I relate to that so deeply. So Hermione is like thinking about I think they were talking about Hogwarts, and Hermione's like, Hogwarts. I have an idea. And she goes into her little bag.
This is
and
so wild.
Instead of saying Accio Phineas, she fucking digs around with her hands, I guess, and pulls out the portrait of Phineas Nigellus. You know, former headmaster of Hogwarts and black family ancestor.
Yeah, Phineas Nigellus.
Yeah, whatever. And the second he comes into the frame, she blindfolds him.
Ineffective. I don't think that's enough.
Hermione, how do you know that spell?
What is the spell to blindfold paintings? Why do you know that?
That is true. Yeah.
You don't know magic missile, but you know that.
That's the kind of thing that your bard just has and is just like waiting for the perfect opportunity.
'Cause she cast the spell. It's like a prestidigitation, isn't it? Where she like casts like, don't fucking look at me or something.
Mel's blinding fold.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Hermione, blindfold spell.
It's like blindfoldio.
Obscuro.
Obscuro.
Obscuro. That's so fucking stupid. I'm mad that I looked that
So
up.
it'll just blind anything in the most effectively blinding manner.
I fucking
so.
guess. I hate it. What if you pointed at an object that you want to be hidden instead of like the object that you're trying to hide things from? Whatever,
It's nicely
man.
wrapped in
Oh my
black
gosh.
cloth.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is good. I like this. I like this use of the Obscuro spell.
Would it come up with one of those little falcon helmets for a bird?
Tyler, you're too ready to like this chapter. It's disarming. You're just here to like things.
I do like a lot of things. I'm not much of a hater.
That's not what this show is for.
Can you hate some
No,
things? That would be
I'm just
great.
kidding. You're allowed to like whatever you want.
I
Wow, he's
I go
really
back and
struggling
forth
here.
on Joanne's decision to call the goblin language gobbledygook. I can't decide if that's awesome
If it's
or
funny?
the worst.
Or if it's like
Let me look up the etymology.
It's
to
very
make my
like
decision.
it's very like, hey, remember Tom Bombadil was in this series, right? Like we've got to throw in something wild right here. Cuz she could have changed it to goblish or goblinish.
So it's just a word that it means like nonsense, basically.
Gobbledygook specifically originated from World War II. But wait, no, it's okay.
Gabagool.
But it means the over-involved, pompous talk of officialdom. Like when people are like using their
was she-
in-group jargon, like to intentionally other people who are like not in on it. Like it's like talk English to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
say it like you would say it to a kindergartner.
So
Shut up your gobbledygook.
I like Tyler. I thought that she was that in that moment we were naming the goblin language gobbledygook.
We were.
No, I think
yeah.
she did that. She did
Oh,
that.
okay. Then
But when the question of is this fucked up or not, I needed to look up the actual
I
etymology of the
didn't
actual
think
word.
that it would be like offensive in any way. I just meant like I can't decide if this is
I
like a
think
hilarious
it
thing
kind
that
of-
she's done or
no,
if it
but I
sucks.
think it is kind of quote unquote offensive to just like this, ongoing concept where she doesn't give a shit about the other like races and species in these books, where she's like, oh, and the language of this other people that we don't care about, it's literally just a nonsense language. So it's just
bullshit. They
gobbledygook.
they speak bullshit because
Yeah.
I don't care.
I think
Yeah.
you guys are giving her too much credit. I genuinely think she picked the one word in the extant English language that was like, this sounds like it could be a goblin language, and just rolled
That
with
reminds me of our most recent bonus episode is called "Is This Author Prejudiced or Just Lazy?" Spoiler alert, little bit of both. Check out our Patreon for the
Yeah.
$5 a month and up tiers if you'd like to listen to that.
This one feels to me like a lazy moment. Like,
Yeah. A lot of her racism is from lazy.
I
for
genuinely,
sure.
I refuse to believe she looked up what the word gobbledygook actually meant.
Do you think her
Yeah.
editor is reading 15 chapters in on her 7th book?
I think her editor was fucking fired by this point.
She actually has 2 editors by now. She has like a regular copy editor and a continuity editor. And the last 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 books have a continuity editor. So
Oh.
the editor definitely wasn't going like there wasn't an editor the way that like debut authors have an editor who like is like, let's see if this book's gonna get anywhere. Like the book is going somewhere, but I don't think that they were able to maybe edit story a lot, but they definitely helped her with continuity, if nothing else, I guess. Although they forget all these cool fucking magic items they have.
They did nail the vanishing cabinet, which is always the one thing that I'm like very proud of.
It's pretty cool.
When they're like, oh yeah, that's the vanishing cabinet that broke 5 books ago. It's back.
And,
like,
and Draco
fuck
has
yeah.
to fix it.
Let's go.
I bet that was a continuity editor.
Oh, no, 100%.
being like,
That was-
Joanne, you gotta use this.
That was somebody on the team going through the first 4 books and be like, huh, that could be fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Either that or she woke up in a cold sweat just like, vanishing cabinet!
Which, like, as a writer, I've been there. But I would like to take this opportunity really quick to shout out Cheryl Klein, continuity editor. You damn it, it wasn't perfect, but you obviously gave it your all.
Thank you, Cheryl Klein. Hey, Cheryl Klein, thank you for giving my brothers a job for the past 10 years.
Phineas Nigelus. We're with Phineas Nigelus.
Nigelus, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Fight about it.
He confirms that Ginny tried to steal the sword with Luna and Neville. Their punishment was with Hagrid in the forest, and Harry's like, ha, they're probably fine, which I think we can all agree that, ha, they're probably fine, you know, even though that's chaotic for Hogwarts, it's pretty run-of-the-mill.
Bro, no, hold on. Hagrid is not a safe individual. Harry, Ron, and Hermione have such a blind
In this
spot when it comes to
situation.
Hagrid.
I'm totally
In
with
this
you,
situation.
but in the context, it's pretty normal.
Yeah, I think that was a nod to the listener that, like, oh, by the way, Snape is actually still good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I see that only on like the wraparound though. Like I don't think I ever would have thought about that
Yeah.
in the moment. But yeah, on the wraparound, like reading it for not the first time, I'm like, oh yeah, Snape was just like, guys, can you just lay off me for
Just let-
5 minutes?
Let Harry do his thing because Harry's Lily's son, and Lily was a fine piece of something.
With her rippling muscles.
With her riblet. She reminded me a lot of Dean Thomas.
Oh my god.
Harry Potter, but everyone's jacked.
They both had 6 packs. So they ask Phineas to bring Dumbledore's portrait, but he's like, well, obviously the magic doesn't work that way. And it's like, I don't fucking know, man. The magic works kind of however the plot needs it to. So I guess right now it needs things to not move forward.
I love that he's betrayed consistently by his need to be a gossipy bitch. He's like, I'll never come back. Except I
He
will.
definitely.
I cannot resist you. I can't quit you.
Phineas Nigelus is a sassy little bitch.
She's a sassy girl.
He can't bring them Dumbledore's portrait, and then he tells them that the last time he saw anyone touch the sword was when Dumbledore broke the ring. So, okay.
Oh my god, Lord
They're
of
like,
the Rings.
Okay, question for the group. Could the sword of Gryffindor destroy the ring? The one ring, I mean.
No.
No.
Nah.
Unless
We
you
don't think
dipped
so.
it in the fires of Mordor.
Yeah, couldn't
And they're
hold on.
Mordor.
Hang on. My immediate answer was no. She might not be that wrong. How?
What did you
I'll
just
put
say?
that on my
how-
resume.
It depends on how strong the magic of the goblin imbuing powers is. Like, can it absorb the lava, the fires of Mount Doom? Because if yes, then yes. But if no, then first of all, no sword. Second of all, no.
What if they tried to... Oh, no. Okay, actually, I think what would actually happen is they try to use the sword to destroy the one ring, and the sword absorbs the power of the one ring instead.
Oh,
And then you
that's
just have the one
good.
sword.
The
one sword.
The flame of the East.
It's gonna take James Bond to fix this.
I feel like the ring is much stronger than the sword, and I feel like I mostly think that just because the magic system in Harry Potter is so weak and chaotic that I don't trust it to do anything.
I don't trust the magic system in Lord of the Rings is like, yeah, Sauron was God and he made evil sword ring magic stuff.
Don't forget about like woodland light and music shenanigans.
They have that in Harry Potter. It's called the Dark Forest or whatever. The Black, what's it called? Dark Forest?
That's Star Wars,
Forbidden
silly.
Forest.
Forbidden Forest.
They call it the Dark Forest sometimes.
Forbidden Forest is what
do
I was
they?
thinking of.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get to the end of the chapter.
Okay.
We're going to do it right
we?
now. We're going to do it literally right now. Hermione and Harry like have this moment of glee because they are figuring out that the sword can break Horcruxes. Okay. They're like, yay! And they're holding hands and they're jumping up and down and they're like giggling. Ron is not feeling glee right now. He is feeling sad and mad. Mostly mad.
Big mad.
He's been doing that thing. I really hate when this happens, and it happens less obviously as we get older and we learn how to control our feelings, but when like everything's great and then it is revealed that someone you are with is extremely not great and it's like very shocking and you're like, why are you so not great right now? Like, this is a horrible surprise. So Ron gets accusational at Harry for not knowing anything. Harry reacts defensively and mockingly, but also Harry has never he's never acted like he knew what he was doing for 1 second.
Right.
He's been like, I don't know what I'm doing, actually, pretty specifically.
I think we are disadvantaged by Harry being the narrator in that moment, though, because I do feel like if we were viewing this from like Ginny's point of view, it would be like, well, we're going to do everything we can on the ground because Harry, Ron, and Hermione have everything figured out. And then, so like, I feel like everybody's expectation is that Harry has it figured out. And we know from being inside Harry that like, no, obviously he doesn't. But just like the weight of his situation, I think does give off the vibe that he probably knows what's going on. It's like when you go to work and you're like, I bet my manager knows how to handle this. And then you become a manager and realize like, there is no way to handle this.
Okay, yes. It's like we're all just kind of making it up as we go. But Harry doesn't have enough even to like make it up as he goes. You know, he just is doing nothing. So Ron is like, Hermione and I thought you had a plan. And Hermione's like, no, I said it nicely, please. So Ron's wearing the Horcrux right now. Hermione asks him to take it off, but Harry knows that these feelings are real.
Dude,
and they are.
This is Hermione's like, Ron, are you PMSing?
And Harry's like, no, he's just being a jerk.
He's being a bitch.
Big mean bitch.
I hate him. Honestly, like, poor Hermione right now. Because they are both
She tried to get in between the romance.
So Harry tells Ron to go home, and someone in the last chapter was like, oh yeah, when Ron yells at Harry that he doesn't have any parents, let it be known that Harry's the one who says that. Harry is like, I don't have any parents, and Ron's like,
Ron doesn't
maybe
really
me.
set him up well.
Well, and Ron's like, maybe me too someday. And it's like, well, you see, I mean, that is a little different, Ron.
As the person with no parents, that happens all the fucking time.
Ethan, as the resident expert here on
Happens all the fucking time. It's always like, here's the one I get. Here's the one I get all the time. It's like, oh my god, I know exactly what you're going through. And my grandma died.
No.
And I'm just like, time out. Go away.
That's not the same.
That's not the same at all. That's not the same at all. As someone whose grandmother died within the last 2 years, I know
Just like,
that's
walk
not
away,
the same at all.
Come back. Try again tomorrow. Thank you.
Come back when both your parents are dead.
Yeah.
Come back when both your parents are... Actually, Ethan, I think you need to start saying that. I think that's an appropriate
like, I think that'll really drill the message home, because that, like, I think if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, you know what? They're right. I was way out of line.
Yeah, you can't argue with that. That's why Harry pulls that card so much, because you just can't argue with it.
It's true. It'll get you out of basically anything at least once.
Harry tells Ron to go home, and Ron's like, maybe I will. And they're about to physically fight, which they do in the movies, and I can't wait to talk about that. But they're about to physically fight, and Hermione pops a shield in between them.
Love that. I love defensive magic.
But she's on Harry's side.
Well, we'll see about that.
Of the shield.
Of the shield. Okay, I was like,
No, she's on Harry's side of the shield.
I have tried to do this before. I am not a magician, so I did not have magic. I only had my body. And I tried to step in between my two roommates that were fighting, and they were both very drunk and on Xanax, which you shouldn't do. It could kill you. I have friends whom that has killed. But they were like belligerently fighting, and I was literally like full Hermione, like, please guys, please don't fight. And I put my body in between them, and the one of them, James, grabbed me firmly
grasp it
by my shoulders and yoinked me to the side and said, Tina, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. Okay, have fun fighting.
I was just kidding. I think this fight looks great.
That fight was crazy. So it would be cool to have a magic shield. So Ron takes off the locket and prepares to leave. He's really hot right now. He asks Hermione if she's coming with him. She is not. And he says, you choose him, and leaves. And she follows him out, screaming his name into the night, but he's gone.
I mean, think about this from Ron's perspective, all right? First, Harry doinks his sister, and now Harry is doinking his girlfriend. It's like...
But the thing is that it takes such an idiot to think that there's something romantic happening here, and only Ron could be that idiot, I think.
He's very jealous, okay? He has a lot of emotions. He attracted Lavender for a reason, okay? Because she was the jealous
Also very
type.
emotional.
Yeah.
So I wonder, do you guys think, like, so Ron takes off the locket and leaves. Do you think that, like, as he's walking away, like, every step, he's less mad because of the locket, but he's, like, trapped in this situation and he just keeps going because he's hot-headed? You know what I mean?
I mean, he says so much, like, pretty much explicitly when he comes back. That may only be a movie thing, I don't know. But he pretty much was like, I realized my mistake the second I did it. But your protections work, so I was gone.
Good job with the protections.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is like even if he got this mad while not wearing the locket, like just the sheer act of getting it all off of his chest, how much like that would have like hearing himself say these intrusive thoughts he's had all this time of like Hermione and Harry are probably hooking up. It's like, no, they're obviously not. But then as soon as he hears himself say it, he's like, oh yeah, no, they're definitely not. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get that because, like, sometimes, like, fighting with my husband or whatever, it's like you say a bunch of shit and then there's, like, this awkwardness where it's like, okay, we got it off our chest and we both know that the next thing is to, like, reconcile, but it is, like, a very uncomfortable transition.
Right.
And you kind of just have to go through it. But Ron doesn't have a lot of experience with, like, real adult fights about things that aren't, like, whose toy is that, you know, with his siblings. So he fucking leaves.
Well,
and you shouldn't leave if you can't come back.
And that's the thing. To give to his credit, like, typically he's never been in a situation where when he realizes the second he walked out of the door that he was wrong, he can't just turn around and walk back into the door.
Yeah, and I live right next to a park, so I do a lot of emotional stomping down to my park, and you know, I get the instinct to want to walk away.
Do we think this is a callback? Is this like their first to Ron sacrificing himself?
He's going to sacrifice himself.
No,
not me. Not Hermione.
Yo.
But he's not sacrificing himself.
No, but it is. But like functionally, in terms of story, it is the same effect where it's like, okay, now Harry and Hermione have to go off and do a portion of the adventure on their own.
Yeah, but I don't know because it really in the first book is about elevating like Harry as like our chosen hero, and now it is about how hard it is like without his team and like how much he actually needs them.
But you know the Horcrux is in Ron's ear, just like they don't need you. They don't need you at all. Remember that time with the chess pieces and they didn't need you?
They didn't need you. They got into the next room.
Oh Oh shit! It's a callback for Ron.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Not for
Ooh.
the reader, but for Ron. Interesting.
It's also Merry and Pippin breaking away from Frodo and Sam, right? That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, Ron goes and smokes a bunch of reef.
And knocks out
While
Isengard.
while Harry and Sam, Ron destroys
Isengard.
Isengard by himself. Harry and Harry and Hermione are miserable camping.
Okay, I'm seeing the parallels.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I feel so badly for Hermione chasing Ron out, screaming his name, and he still leaves, and she's like in love with him. That is very upsetting to me.
It's almost like the Horcrux found the greatest wedge to drive them apart, you know?
Yeah, and if I were her, I would be. She's pretty mad when he comes back, but I would be, I think, significantly madder. I would have a righteous rage inside of me.
I don't know. If like Mary Clay did that, like, yeah, I'd be pissed when she came back. But like if my wife did that, I'd just be so fucking jazzed to see her.
I don't know, man. Like, you fucking left me here.
The prodigal son, bro.
If my wife walked off on me while I was trying to save the world.
I feel like if my husband was here, he'd be like, well, of course she's gonna do that. What else would she do?
Which Caitlin would do this. I love that
Yeah.
woman with my entire heart. And she'd be like, listen, go save the fucking world. I'm not doing it.
I'm not interested.
Okay, let's see. So if my husband walked off when I was trying to save the world, oh my god, I have a husband?
Not anymore.
Nice.
He
Not
left
anymore.
me.
Not anymore. He left. He walked away. Oh,
And it's your
that was
fault
short-lived.
for doing too much to save the world.
Anyway, the chapter ends. Yay!
Yeah, it does. Tyler, do you have any last thoughts about the chapter or any
This
other
chapter.
chapters, I guess?
Oh, okay, Christina's
there's-
opening
there's
it up to the rest of them.
Nothing I dislike more than. And then we went over to the creek, and a bunch of exposition happened right next to us.
Yeah.
A bunch of clues we really needed, and were just given to
And
us.
they
Yep.
learned that they can pull salmon out of the river with magic.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's important information that they learned.
Pisses
yeah.
me off every time. So like, Harry caught the fish, and then Ted's like, Accio salmon.
it didn't
See,
even occur to them, I guess.
I firmly believe Harry didn't think of it because he's so dumb.
He's not bright.
So I initially thought, and I might have even requested to have this chapter because I thought this was the chapter, because there's so many moments where they, like, the plot is moved along just by them, like, overhearing a conversation.
yeah,
or
what are you gonna do
like
when you're invisible?
they're just like accidentally, they're just like stumbling upon all this information. And so I thought this was a chapter where they were like listening to the radio show and learning important info and like just stumbling upon that information.
Oh man, when they dance. Oh.
Ugh, that's a movie memory. The radio thing happens after Ron comes back because he's the one who hears about it out in the world and like tells them about it.
Yeah,
When you told me
yeah.
you were doing this chapter, I didn't have any context for what it was other than the title of the chapter, which was The Goblin's Revenge. One, that title sucks for this chapter.
Yeah.
Two, I thought this was definitely about the like return to Gringotts.
Yeah, I thought this was about the robbery.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
robbery of
so
Gringotts,
what is the revenge? The Goblin's revenge?
that
What is-
that they knew that the sword was a fake and they
Yeah.
didn't tell them.
and the revenge was for the impertinent request?
I guess.
Listen, is the revenge in the room with us?
Are the two towers Minas Tirith and Khazad-dûm?
Oh.
Yes, they are. We've been over this before. Why is the movie where Yoda goes, "When I die, you will be the last Jedi," not called The Last Jedi?
I just
Why is
cannot
it called Return of the Jedi?
Mary Clay, have you seen the thing, the meme? I don't know if it's a meme. It's a thing I keep getting on TikTok about Faramir and Frodo both should having know that like Spider Pass where she love lives. Where like they both speak Sindarin and they should know that Cirith Ungol is like spider stairs.
Hey, this is actually a Harry Potter
Oh.
podcast.
I don't think I knew that. So there we go.
I'll send
This
it to
is
you.
this is a D&D podcast. This is a Harry Potter podcast. This has been Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
It's all things to all people.
What else have we discussed here?
This is the whole.
Listen,
Wizengamot,
without all of these
you know?
other things, there would be no Harry Potter.
That is true.
Without Lord of the
I mean,
Rings and D&D and all the other things.
I don't know how much D&D influenced it because the magic system is just not utilitarian at all.
D&D
I'm not
did the
even-
legwork, though, for, like, getting it banned by the Catholic Church. That was huge for Harry Potter.
Okay, but
That
also,
really got the youth involved.
but
Yeah, it's still
Jake,
one of the most
Joanne
banned
would have
books of
been
all
playing
time.
like second edition.
She
So-
would not have been playing cards.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that she was inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. I'm saying
But
Dungeons
it
and
did
Dragons.
lay the fantasy community groundwork.
Yeah,
I do
Dungeons and
feel like
Dragons
Joanne
walked.
would be like, I feel like Joanne would be like, yeah, Gary Gygax was the best. He made his game all about different races you could play.
Yeah, but they live in harmony.
Uh,
Anyway,
do
anything
they?
anything about this chapter of this
Fuck
book
Ron Weasley.
specifically? Yeah, definitely in this chapter.
yeah.
Fuck Ron Weasley.
I liked the part where Harry had like expecto dysfunction.
Oh yeah, that's the only time he's ever failed since he learned.
Yeah, I thought that was like a weird thing to include.
Well, they couldn't just realize that the Horcrux was making them depressed. They had to have a real physical evidence that the Horcrux was making them depressed. Maybe they were like, well, I'm just fucking depressed because this sucks.
Because this is a depressing situation that we're in.
Because
Yeah.
Mad Eye Moody died and Hedwig died.
The way that, like, in the depths of winter when I am having, like, a very depressed day and I'm, like, so irritable and then I don't eat all day because I forget because I'm depressed. And then you eat and you're like, okay, like, 20% of that was hunger, but the rest is still there.
Are you ever mad when it's hunger or it's like I needed to go for a walk and you get back and you're like, God damn it, I feel better now.
I've just started going on like defensive walks.
I would say similar is when I'm feeling like a certain type of way, and then like a day later I get my period, and I'm like, God damn it! I'm like, I mean that explains a lot, but like I really hate that my body is dictating my mind that way. That really sucks.
Yeah, I don't want to be a
With you.
full body. I just want to be a brain controlling a meat robot.
It is very uncanny
Ew.
the way your body is like, all hands on deck.
Everything matters.
Okay, any last words before we move on to plugs?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
great.
None.
Tyler, would you like the people to find you anywhere on the internet?
You know what? You can.
Okay, tell them where.
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at TyCarlin11. And very soon, you can find me on a brand new Dungeons & Dragons podcast called Roll for
Ooh.
Destiny.
Hell yeah, that's very exciting. Do you know when that comes out?
I know the first episode is edited and ready to go, but I think we want to have 2 or 3 before we launch, and we are waiting other peripherals like artwork and stuff right now.
Cool, so soonish.
But soonish, I believe the artist doing the artwork is also on this podcast. So
Okay.
Yeah, and he's been busy.
that's totally fine.
We like decided to do this, and I was like, "Oh my god, my life is hectic."
I'm literally so dumb. I was like, what other?
I
I was like, the person doing the. I was like, oh, has Christina had someone on another episode that's doing your art? That's really.
No, it's me.
I thought Tyler was saying that someone on the D&D podcast was doing the artwork, and I was like, that's
Well, that is
cool.
also
Keep
Ethan is
it
also
in
on the
also
D&D
true.
podcast.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, sorry, yawning. I am also on the D&D podcast.
Thank you for retaking it without the yawn. I have this problem where people talk through their yawns, and also on the show especially, people talk through coughing after hitting their pipe, which is they're literally like, I totally agree. And I'm like, why do you think that's good?
Harry
Why-
Potter's pretty good.
Harry
Not
Potter,
fucking
y'all.
Seth Rogen and Pineapple Express. Like, get it together. Tyler, what's something you've been reading, watching, playing, listening to lately you think the listeners would enjoy?
I just finished Fantasy High through junior year on Dropout, which is a D&D show with... I don't. You know what it is? It's the people from College Humor that do a new thing now.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah. Great
It's
recommendation.
really good. It's very good. If you need like 300 hours of content, you are set.
Hell yeah. Ethan, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Edghill Photos or on TikTok, I believe, at Wow Now. And then that's with zeros, W0W and 0W. It's a long story. It's fine. Yeah, that's about it right now. I'm also on the podcast that Tyler mentioned that we'll have more information about in the future, but this podcast will be dead by then, so...
What?
Aren't you killing
It
this
won't
podcast?
be that.
It's like 15 weeks.
This podcast ends on Christmas, the last episode.
We will be out by Christmas.
Okay, cool.
Probably.
And what media are you plugging to?
You specifically said stuff the listeners will be interested in. At this point in my life, currently, I consume only baseball content. So
What? Wait, why?
'Cause
I would
like
also like to
baseball.
plug the Toronto Blue Jays.
I've kind
You're
of
not-
gotten Tyler into baseball.
You're not like reading novels because you like baseball so
I just
much?
watch a bunch of baseball.
Okay.
It's just a weird
I
thing
don't
in my
know.
life right now.
That's great. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, what's wrong with baseball?
I just grew up in a fucking baseball family, and so I'm way over it.
Oh, yeah. And so you grew up with a family? That must be nice. You know, Ethan.
Also grew up
my
in a
God.
baseball family. No, it's been like
my
nice.
Come back and talk to us when you have no parents.
Oh my god.
I feel like I'm feeling like I'm reconnecting with a piece of my childhood that I lost for a long time. So I'm enjoying it right now,
okay.
and I haven't been reading much or listening to
fine.
podcasts or anything.
Okay, well, good
Listen
for
to the
you.
new Sabrina Carpenter song. It's a banger, and it's been stuck in my head for 10 days.
What's it called?
Because it's called Please, Please, Please.
Oh.
I was listening to that right before we started recording.
And it's really satisfying the way she says motherfucker, and it,
Oh, I like that.
yeah.
I like that.
a good
Mary Clay,
word.
where can the people find you on the internet?
The usual places and my podcast, Skywalk Before You Run. I believe as this episode comes out, I'll have just finished the prequels and I will be starting the sequel series soon. So go check that out. And something, what have I watched?
Okay. And if you don't have anything, that's fine too.
You could talk about your sexy D. Thomas fanfic that you're writing.
I think you're the one writing it, Ethan.
Oh, I want to plug Beth's new book that I think is only out in England. So if you're...
Great. We're going to plug our friend Beth Riekel's new book that's only out in England.
And it's called
The Reunion.
The Reunion.
Hell yeah.
We-
Awesome. We love Beth.
5
She's been on the
stars
show.
all around. It's the best book I've ever read in my life.
That's only available in England.
I mean, let me double check.
It is called The Reunion. It is not in the U.S. yet because it just
I'm sure you could
launched.
buy it via England, you know,
VPN.
at a Waterstones.
What stones?
It looks like it comes out in the U.S. January 14th. You can
Great.
pre-order
So,
God,
that in the show notes.
so you know,
The cover is
7
great.
months from now. Yeah, the covers of all her books are so fun.
I agree.
I really like them.
You know I love pink, so.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being on this episode. This was a lot of fun, extremely chaotic. I hope that it sounded good in everyone's ears holes.
Yeah,
I
and
really-
props to Chris. If it does sound good, everyone go rate Christina. Thank you note. Say, dear Christina, thank you for making the podcast sound good.
Write it in your iTunes, your Apple podcast,
In the form
your
of a 5-star
Spotify
review,
app.
yeah.
Yep, in the form of a 5-star review.
Or on the back of your hand in blood ink.
No.
I'm getting it tattooed.
Christina is a great podcast editor.
At least above average.
At least above average. You're right about that. All right.
Exceeds expectations.
All right. Let's go kill Voldemort.
Whoa.
Yeah. Neither can live while
Let's
the
go
other
kill
will die.
Voldemort!
That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to The Restricted Section. Hosted and produced by me, Christina Kahn. Theme music produced by Ryan Kahn. Logo designed by Michael Hardison. Please don't find us on social media. I am not doing anything there. However, you are welcome to join our Patreon. For $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord server, which is a lot of fun. And for $5 a month, you get access to our monthly bonus episodes. There's also a $10 and a $20 tier as well. So please go check that out. We are honored to be part of Deus Ex Media Podcast Network, which features lots of wonderful podcasts for nerds, including this one.
On my first podcast, That's What I'm Tolkien About, I experienced the world of J.R.R. Tolkien for the first time. Now, I'm turning my attention to a galaxy far, far away. My name is Mary Clay, and I am embarking on my first ever journey through the world of Star Wars. Join me each Tuesday as I drive deeper into hyperspace and discover what this vast universe has to offer. My guests will become like Obi-Wan Kenobi as they guide me through this adventure. The sequel trilogy is good information to have because I didn't know what to refer to those movies as.
There's a sequel trilogy, and then there are 2 spin-off movies that have come out in the last 10 years.
Okay, so very similar to Shrek. Shrek had the original trilogy, and then it had some spin-offs with Puss in Boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly like that.
Listen to Skywalk Before You Run every Tuesday wherever podcasts are found.
Nobody's mad.
You seem upset. I'm not mad at all. You seem very upset.
I said nobody's mad, and that's an order.
Deus Ex Media.